Video highlights from Dirt Track Speedway, presented by Fast Chefs by Actual Exchange. They're not just fast, they're first. FastChefs.com. All right, so my conversation for tonight in Victory Lane, no love goes a long way. You know, you've heard a little love goes a long way. Well, no love goes, I think, a long way as well. And I think, to be honest with you, probably more so than a little love. Now, I think last episode I said that this past weekend, regardless, I didn't know about the schedule for sure with the Independence Motor Speedway, but I decided that my job at the track was done after this weekend. I'd committed through, and most of my job has to deal with IMCA reports, keeping things going on the track and whatnot, and they don't really need me during the September Spectacular, so I was actually looking at doing other things. And there's a huge amount of reasons why. One, normally I'm not one that likes to sit tied to a particular thing. I love seeing other tracks. I see it on Facebook. Growing up, I used to look at the Hawkeye Racing News, and I'd read about these guys, and the Mid-States Report, when that started coming around as well, and I wanted to go to these different tracks. So as soon as I got my license, permission from the family, man, I was all over the place. I loved to go to different racetracks, and that's what I loved about it, because I wanted to see, the guys up in the Northwest and how they do, and actually watch them instead of, videos are nice, but nothing replaces being there. You can watch all the videos you want in the world, but nothing replaces that thunder in the chest and seeing those guys actually make those moves and have a huge amount of respect for it. So that's my thing. And so for the last 3 years, I've been kind of landlocked on Saturdays and had an opportunity to maybe go to the west side of the state, and I might still do that. But that's only a part of the reason. I'll be honest with you. Again, I brought up earlier when I was talking about social media. Social media isn't killing it. It's the people around you that are killing it. There's a ton of drivers and team members and other individuals that are demanding respect, but yet they do nothing to earn it. That's the thing that I find interesting. And I know as a race official, it's a thankless job. But I'll be honest with you, as a driver, it could be a thankless job as well. I saw two drivers in the infield hollering back and forth at each other. They had a different perspective on a particular pass that took place. I saw it, and to be honest with you, I thought both had a right to be pissed off. Good for you. Stand up for what you believe in. But the argument that they had going on was a little heated and involved a mother and acts that just aren't physically possible. And, well, really gets a little tiresome after a while, to be honest with you, and sometimes you need a break, and that's why I like rolling around. The month of September is a weird month in the Iowa dirt track scene, to be honest with you. In July, we're all complaining about, I'm tired of the grind, it's hot, but I love this sport, but dadgummit, I'm tired, blah, blah, blah. And then come September, it's like, man, the racing season's over. I'm all mad. I don't want it to end. It's also an interesting month because we get to see track champions. Sometimes there's track champions that we've loved to see, and then love to cheer against. And then also there's first-time champions, young guns that are coming up. It's a fun part of the season. It's also what I call the month of money. It kicks off in the IMCA world with the IMCA Speedway Motors Super Nationals. As of last year, the Yankee Dirt Track Classic got moved to Labor Day weekend, so technically it kicks off the month of money here in the state of Iowa. It's all about things that you love to do in this 1 month. You get a chance to travel all around. You don't have the pressure of the weekly shows anymore. Just going out and showing up, either hanging out with your family and friends one last time. But as the season winds down, you start looking back on the season. You remember the good things, but you're also going to remember the bad things as well. All those mountains of problems as the season ends suddenly fall off and drift into the sea. And what's left is that anthill that was originally there of what ticked you off. Now, why do we all of a sudden kind of come down? Well, because the racing season's over. We're not there as much. We're more engaged with other things, college football, the kids going back to school. So we quickly forget those things. We might not always remember the exact details, and that's the part we forget, but we'll always remember the good and the bad. And if you're ending the season on a bad note, or you are the reason why somebody's ending the season on a bad note, I encourage you to go out and do this. And I'm not looking at it for me because I'm pretty thick-skinned and I'm fine with the choices I've made and stand by the decisions and every call I've ever made. Right or wrong, I'll stand by it. But as we are winding down this season and starting to travel around, take some time to, as a fan, make sure you thank the track official or the guy or the gal that takes your ticket. Or if your season's over, reach out to them and just say, hey, I want to appreciate what you did. The track officials, they don't need to hear it, most of them, but along the way, it is nice to hear from time to time. if you're a race car driver, and I've actually had a few that have private messaged me the last couple of days and saying thank you. I might not always agree with your call, but I do appreciate your hard effort. Stuff like that to the track officials and the fans that sit in that 100-degree heat while you're out there, or drive 2.5 hours only to find out you get rained out, but they're there because they love you. Make sure you reach out and tell them thank you somehow. And as an official as well, make sure you get out there and say thank you. All the drivers that did send me private messages, or when I made sure I tried to shake everybody's hand on Saturday night, because I did really thank them, because they did do a lot to help me get my job completed. And I might not see eye to eye with everybody, and I'll be honest with you, some of them I just don't care to even talk to on a personal note. That doesn't mean I don't appreciate what they did. And I wanted to make sure I expressed that to them. Why am I talking about all of this? Is because no love goes a long way. And I decided, to be honest with you, I made that decision to not come back after this past weekend slightly rashly, because it was the no love aspect. I was just tired of it, to be honest with you. But it's my choice to decide whether I'm tired of it or not. So it's up to us to take a look at how things go. And so my thought is on this is, as we are getting into that point where we're starting to have here's the energy we're taking into the off season, I thought it might be nice if all of us reached out to those that are supporting racing, whether it be you're a fan to the other aspects, the drivers, you got the list. Just make sure they know that they appreciate, or that you appreciate what they do, whether it's the hours in the shop, sitting there and being, told how to, do things with your mother, and yet take it with a smile and do it professionally. It's okay to say, hey, thank you. And that's all you got to say. Just reach out and say thank you. I appreciate that. Anyway, that is my conversation for tonight. So I do appreciate everyone checking out tonight's show. I'm reaching for the towel tonight. We will talk to you next week. It is season championship week here next weekend, 9 o'clock on Monday. Thank you guys for joining in, and I appreciate it. Tell your friends. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, give the page a like. You'll see the logo, my logo in the bottom right-hand corner. Give it a click, subscribe. If you're watching it on Facebook, give it a like and share. I'd appreciate the love. And thank you again for the love from Fast Shafts. Pat Fagan and the crew, you guys are awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, throwing in the towel. We'll talk to you next week. All right, so I threw the towel and it didn't land.